End of August was the last song we wrote, other than the intro. The introduction, A Place and Time, was kind of being worked on a little bit before, but End of August was one of the few songs that kind of organically came together in a room, relatively quickly. We were sitting, myself, John, and Mark, and I remember I had this opening guitar part sitting on the shelf for a really long time, and we just were able to kind of get through something with it and just make something pretty happen. And so throughout the album, the music starts, and gets more complex and more serious as we go. And then the last song is almost like the opposite. It's more stripped down. It's back to that positive. It's about melody. And that's kind of the story of life in a way, right? Is you think things are very complicated and things are very, they need to be very minute and very, calculated. But then at the end of the day, at the end of your life, all you want to hear is, a beautiful song and a beautiful melody. And, that's kind of what End of August brings to the table and brings the whole album full circle. Whereas the introduction has comments about September rain and the end of someone's life. The End of August is pulling in that full, almost calendar year, right, as you go through the whole album and the whole arc of someone's life. The second half of the song, where we kind of go back down into more of a drone with a pulse and we kind of build up. I've always envisioned this as almost like paying homage to that opening character in A Place and Time when they are moving into the next. And it's, for me, as I listen, I think of someone being there in a moment and kind of recollecting all these things throughout their life. And it's just over this pulse and drone. And then there's this explosion of beauty as they realize that they're moving to the next plane of existence or their next life. And it's just a very beautiful moment, and wrapping it up at the end with that, really pretty little piano ditty that Mark plays. It just seems very fitting, and it's a real accomplishment, in my opinion, to close the album in such a impactful way after all this playing, and to just see Mile Marker Zero just do like a great song at the very end that, that has a lot of weight to it without being too over the top. It's inspiring, and it's definitely my favorite moment on the album for the last 2 minutes of the record. So when you listen to the album, make sure you make it through the entire thing to get the full experience, because it's really beautiful and amazing.
End of August has this nostalgic feeling behind it, which can be a very elusive emotion to capture without it sounding derivative. I think we nailed it for this song, and as we combined all sorts of these different elements, from acoustic to orchestral, I get the sense that Mile Marker Zero is really entering a new phase of our songwriting journey.
End of August will have a really special place in my heart. During the recording of this album, my mother passed away unexpectedly, and when I was driving to the hospital and grieving, I felt like I needed this song to help comfort me. I really connected with just the overall mood of the song, and even though the lyrics talk more about the end of a relationship rather than a mother-son connection, I still felt the connection to the song, and I needed it, and just the presence of the band in general to help me get through that time in my life. The song reminds me of two of my favorite songs, which are Entangled by Genesis and In My Time of Need by Opeth. They're both songs that have this melancholy feel, but have this beautiful texture that goes with it. I think a lot of that comes from the Mellotron keyboards. They give a kind of pastoral texture to the song, and it really kind of helps create just the overall mood of the song, and I really connected with that. The song has a great climax at the end. It also brings the album sort of full circle. In the first song of the album, Dave talks about September rain, and then we're here at the end of August at the end. It came out beautifully, and I'll always have a special connection with this song.